We continue during this sacred and holy month of Elul to try to find greater meaning, connection, profundity in our tefillos, in our davening experience. There is a beautiful idea advanced by the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh. The Rebbe is speaking about the concept of kavana, of having concentration when we daven, and the power of kavana. And the Baal Shem Tov was trying to convey to his Hasidim, what is it that kavana does, right? We always speak about this. There's tefillah with kavana, tefillah without kavana. We all know that davening with kavana, concentration is better. Whatever concentration means, whether it means on a simple, basic level, understanding the meaning of the words, on a deeper level, higher level, perhaps even understanding the meaning of the tefillos. All of us understand that davening with kavana is certainly better. But says the Rebbe, he gave a beautiful mashal. He says, if you could imagine, a person has a home, and the home has a whole bunch of rooms, and each of the rooms has a locked door, a door with a lock on it. So the Rebbe says, so you try to get into a room, you can't get into the room without the key. Put the key in the hole, turn it, and suddenly you're able to enter. The Rebbe says, kavana is like a key. Kavana gives you access to things that you would be unable to access without. Whatever level, whether it's access to Hashem, whether it's access to bracha, whether it's access to simcha, whatever it is. But kavana is the key that lets you into the locked room. Kavana is the key that gives you unfettered access to whatever it is that you are davening for. But says the Rebbe, sometimes the keys become rusty. Sometimes the keys haven't been used in a while, and the keys themselves fall into a state of disrepair. Sometimes the keys are so rusted over that they can't open the door. And obviously the nimshal, the parallel the Rebbe is saying is that sometimes, I haven't davened with kavana in such a long time. Or maybe I've never davened with kavana. There are some of us like that although we've been davening for years, maybe it's been a long time since I've had a moving prayer experience, or maybe I've never had a moving prayer experience. Rahman al-Islam, it happens. Some of us go through our lives, and the truth is we just have this platonic relationship with Hashem. I go through the motions, I do what I'm supposed to do, but there's no depth, there's no meaning. Says the Rebbe, the keys have become rusted. So what do you do when the keys become rusted? So the Rebbe says, when the keys become rusted, that's where the power of a broken heart becomes first and foremost. With a broken heart, says the Rebbe, a Jew approaches Hashem with a broken heart. The Rebbe compares a broken heart to an axe. And what can you do with an axe? You could chop down the door. The lock is rusted, the keys are rusted. It's okay. With an axe, you could just bust right through. Says the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh, that is the power of a broken heart. The keys, kavana, open doors. A broken heart knocks down doors. A broken heart allows for unfiltered access to the Ribono Shel Olam. An incredible idea. You could use the keys of kavana, but if for some reason you don't feel you have the keys of kavana, you could always use a broken heart to break down the doors. I've been thinking a lot about this idea by the Baal Shem Tov, especially again in these days, as mentioned before, of Elul. We're getting ready just a few days away from starting Slichos. For our Ashkenazim, our Sephardic brethren are already well immersed into Slichos. Just a little bit more than a week and a half away from Rosh Hashanah, from the Yom Adin, the Day of Judgment. I was thinking about this idea of the power of a broken heart. And what does it mean to have a broken heart? So I think a lot of times when we think about broken heart, we assume that the reference is to sadness. And that's true. In other words, all of us know that sometimes, I mean, even on a personal level, that there was a situation in life in which was very difficult for me a couple of years ago, overwhelmingly difficult for me. And the truth is, I felt so broken. And I will tell you, in those moments that I felt so broken, never in my life have I felt so close to Hashem. And it's an interesting thing, because Baruch Hashem, that crisis resolved itself. Nothing resolved itself. The crisis was resolved, Baruch Hashem. And the truth is, I'll tell you that there are days, and this is going to sound strange, that I miss that feeling. I don't miss the crisis, to be clear, but I miss the feeling that the crisis engendered. Because in the midst of that crisis, I understood unequivocally, and probably in the clearest way and throughout my entire life, that I needed Hashem. There was nothing else in this world that was going to give me what I needed, except the Ribono Shel Olam. And I remember walking around day and night with a Sefer Tehillim in my hand. I remember again that my davening was different, Shacharos was different, Mincha was different, Ma'ariv was, everything was different. Everything was different. I don't hope for the crisis again. I'm okay. I'm okay if the crisis doesn't present itself again. But I miss the closeness. I miss the closeness. And to be honest, I've yet to replicate that closeness outside of a time of crisis. So a leiv shavar, a broken heart like the Baal Shem Tov calls it, we automatically associate it with a time of distress, a time of difficulty, a time of pain, a time of need. And so yes, the Rebbe teaches us that the power of a broken heart is that it busts through the door, knocks the door down. But I think brokenheartedness also means something a little bit different. And perhaps what a broken heart means is a willingness to make ourselves vulnerable to Hashem. You see, most of us are too afraid to make ourselves vulnerable. There was just an article in the Wall Street Journal that it was an incredible article that spoke about feeling good with the fact that you're not good at certain things, feeling good about not being good. So the article explained that so often in life, if I know I'm not good at something, I stay away from it. I stay away from it. I'm not good at it, so I'm going to focus on, I'm going to play to my strengths. And the truth is that there's a certain level of liberation that comes when you're okay with not being good at something. You could actually even enjoy the things that you're not so great at. You just have to accept, this is not the area that I'm going to excel, but I could still be good at it. And the article quoted a number of different examples. A woman who's a terrible surfer, but nevertheless, she likes to surf. Someone who's terrible at singing, but she likes to sing. I know I'm not going to be good. See, we're not good at not being good. We're not good at not being good. We're not good at allowing ourselves to be vulnerable. We're not good at allowing ourselves to acknowledge our own deficits and deficiencies. And that's because deep down, I'm Tzelem Elokim. I am made in the image of Hashem. And so sometimes we think that just as my Creator, of course, is this paragon of perfection, the Ribbon Shalom is perfect, inside out, all perfection. So somehow, because I'm made in the image of Hashem, I create this expectation of perfection for myself. And if I'm not perfect, or better stated, when I'm not perfect, because none of us are perfect, it's difficult for me to acknowledge that. And it's difficult for me to really confront that. And perhaps what the Rebbe is trying to teach us is the most powerful thing in the Tefillah experience is an opportunity to acknowledge, confront, and own our own vulnerability. What does it mean to come before Hashem with a broken heart? What it means is not necessarily a time of distress or pain or difficulty, but the greatest broken heart is when I recognize there are parts of me that are broken. There are many, many parts of me that are broken. And the truth is, I'm probably too embarrassed to share that even with my spouse, with my children, with my friends. I don't want to share with anyone. But I want to share it with you. I want to share it with you. I want to come before you, my Father, and I want to share my vulnerabilities. I want to make myself vulnerable by expressing myself to you, by telling you how I feel about me, not about life necessarily in general. Yes, I know to daven for refuah, for parnasa, for shidduchim, but Choshen Baruch Hu, I'm coming to you with a broken heart, because the truth is, I'm insecure enough. I'm too insecure to necessarily share my deficiencies with others, but with you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I could share everything. And the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh says, when you summon up the strength to make yourself vulnerable before HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when you come before with the Ribbon Shalom with that broken heart of vulnerability, when you come before Hashem and say, Ribbon Shalom, I'm struggling, and you fill in the blank with whatever, or blanks, with whatever your struggles are, and you come before Hashem with a broken heart, that's an axe to the door that knocks down every door, that breaks down every mechitza, that breaks down every single barrier, and that brings you front and center to the Ribono Shel Olam. A broken heart is the ticket to the audience with my Father, to an audience with the King, to a connection with the Ribono Shel Olam. Such is the power of a broken heart, says the Rebbe. And so as we go and we continue on our journey of Tefillah, First of all, we should be zochem, Yirtzeh Hashem, to utilize the keys of Kavanah, because the truth is those are powerful keys. A tefillah with Kavanah could open up so many doors. A tefillah with Kavanah could give me access to so much bracha. But if you're like me, and maybe over the years your keys have become a little bit rusty, and maybe they don't work in the doors anymore. Maybe you just feel like every single door is closed to you. And in that moment when your keys don't work and you feel like every single door is closed, it's tempting to want to give up. But in that moment, recognize that you have the most powerful force in the universe, the power of a broken heart. And not just simply the ability to connect with Hashem in a time of distress, but an ability to come before Hashem and to make yourself vulnerable. To come before Hashem and to make yourself vulnerable with the honesty of who you are, and what I'm not. To come before Hashem with the pain of my struggles and of my difficulties. And when I make myself vulnerable, when I come to my God with that broken heart, that puts an axe in my hand to chop down, to knock down every single door that stands in my way. Maybe Zochem Yirtzeh Hashem, to acquire and use the keys. And when those fail, maybe Zochem Yirtzeh Hashem, to break down everything that stands in our way with the power of a broken heart. Wishing everyone a wonderful day and a beautiful rest of Chodesh Elul.